Rabbi Daniel Lapin is a conservative blowhard who's appeared on Glenn Beck's show before, and he recently went on another conservative outlet, a radio show called Washington Watch, and he has a theory that he'd like to share with us about liberals liking radical Islam.
All right, we were having a discussion with my good friend Rabbi Daniel Lapin. I call him my rabbi. We were discussing why the left favors Islam and actually promotes it even to their own demise, and he was going to have a zinger of an answer for us, and we went to break, but now we're coming back. Rabbi.
Yes, hi.
You were going right into the answer when we went to the break, so pick right up.
Yes, well, there's a sexual dimension to this, and by that I just want to explain, it doesn't necessarily mean a man, a biological man, or a biological woman. When I speak about masculinity or femininity, give you an example. If my wife says to me, Daniel, you are not going to the wedding dressed like that, and I say, yes, dear, or are you really sure about that, dear? Then what's really happening is that for that little interchange, she is more masculine than me because she's expressing a very firm and non-negotiable position. I'm being more submissive. I'm saying, you know what, she probably knows better than me about how people are dressing for this wedding, so that's what we do. When people are in a hostage situation, we have something called Stockholm Syndrome. Mm-hmm. And what that means, obviously, is that, needless to say, even if you're biologically male, if you're, God forbid, in a hostage situation, you are somewhat feminized simply because you are powerless. You are dependent on your captors for almost everything. And so there's a slight feminizing process that takes place. It's just biology. It's just real. And, I mean, you know, there are countless studies showing that feminine-type behavior produces an excess of estrogen in men and vice versa. So all I'm saying here is that essentially the left has fallen in love with the masculinity of Islam. And we are attracted to the masculine strength and brutality of Islam. This is the girl in the high school being attracted to the bad, tough guy.
You know, the guy has a point. I mean, there was an Osama bin Laden twerking video that I saw the other day. It was hot. Listen to this idiot. The left is sexually attracted to radical Islam. Where do I begin? I mean, what? Are there groups out there that albaghdadiishot.com? What are you saying? And look, even if you go down the list of beliefs of radical Islamists versus beliefs of progressives, they disagree on everything. So it's not even just like, hey, the left isn't sexually attracted to radical Islamists, which is just a bizarre thought. They're not attracted to them in any way, shape, or form. We disagree with them on everything. Sexually attracted. Yeah, man, let me tell you, I was watching ISIS videos the other day online. Couldn't stop touching myself. I get overcome with certain feelings and emotions when I look at radical Islamists. If anything, true progressives are the hardest of anybody on radical Islam. Has Bill Maher been accused of treating Islam too soft? Particularly radical Islamists? I don't believe there's a person on the planet that disagrees with them more. So he's got it completely backwards. And the thing I always find amazing is how they miss the obvious point here, which is that ultra-Orthodox Jews and fundamentalist Christians and fundamentalist Muslims, they actually largely agree on many things. And they all certainly have this dogmatic, bigoted, intolerant mindset of we're right, they're wrong. They want to push their different religions on people in the school system. They're all anti-woman to one degree or another. They believe in pushing their dogma over science. I mean, there's a lot of parallels and a lot of connections, stances on gay people and on abortion, and there's a lot of connections there, but they don't see it at all. They make up a fake connection between liberals and radical Islamists, and we're sexually attracted to them. It's so silly. Now, look, is there an instance where the left defends Muslims? Absolutely. I've done it myself. I defend Muslims when I feel like Muslims are being unfairly treated or they're being victimized. That doesn't mean that I defend radical Muslims or radical Islamists. I think I'm harder on them than anybody. That's clear. But you'll find me defending Muslims when, for example, hate crimes against Muslims go up like it has in the U.S. post 9/11. Not just hate crimes against Muslims, but hate crimes against Sikhs and Hindus and anybody who's got darker skin. Because idiots thought, oh, it must be a terrorist. They look like they're from the Middle East. Kill them. So yeah, I defend them in a situation like that. I defend Muslims in a situation where we know there are moderate Muslims in question, but they're being spied on by the NSA. That was the great report from The Intercept a few months back that we covered on the show. The government knows the head of CARE, for example, who's worked for peace his entire life. He worked with the Bush administration after 9/11, for fuck's sake, trying to do outreach to the Muslim community, but they were like, fuck it, spy on him because he's Muslim, we think he's a terrorist. I'm going to defend Muslims when they're treated unfairly like that, or when just stereotyping in general across the board. There's real Islamophobia from right-wing bigots and idiots. So yes, I'm going to defend them in that situation. But to defend victims when they are victims does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that you're defending radical Islamists. I disagree with them more than anybody. Or that we are sexually attracted to radical Islamists. Because if that theory were true, right, that, well, the liberals are little punk bitches and they're pussies and they're just attracted to strength, so that's why they're attracted to radical Islam. If your theory is true, why wouldn't the left be attracted to the KKK? They have the same kind of mindset as radical Islamists do. They're terrorists, they have an ideology, they're unapologetic, they use violence. So why wouldn't the left be attracted to the KKK or to neo-Nazis or to sovereign citizens? Or to any right-wing terrorists, any other kind of terrorists. If your theory is correct, that would be the case. But that's not the case, because your theory is, what's the word I'm looking for again? I can't remember. Dumb.